right, that was the first pull of 2024. All right, it's Glenn from Glenn's Car Collection. Welcome to this video. Hopefully you've had a warm day or two. This is our first, I guess, 55-degree day in March. So took the S2000 out. Probably, I haven't driven her probably since December. I don't remember if there was I made a video in January or not, but I really miss driving this car. So today we're going to talk about all things S2000s. And if you haven't already, check out my AP1 versus AP2 video. Two yellow cars, my AP2 2004 that we're in right now, Rio Yellow Pearl is the color. And we also drove my friend's Spa Yellow AP1. And if you want to see the differences between those two cars driving on the same day on the same road back to back, that is a great video to watch. I love all S2000s, whether you like the 9,000 RPMs of the AP1 or the composure of the AP2. Fantastic cars. All right, so this 04 S2000, this is my third one. I've had 3 AP2s. I just like the looks of the AP2s. I didn't really spend much time in AP1s for many years since I was young. When I drove my friend's AP1 a couple months ago, November, December, to film that video, it was pretty phenomenal. And I would definitely love to have an AP1. I don't think you need both. If you watch the video, I think they're close enough that you do not need both. But make a right here. You can't go wrong with either S2000. Now the AP2 has a lower red line. It's about 8,000, just over 8,000 instead of 9,000, but the VTEC does kick in lower, and I think I really like the looks of the AP2 too, but it's up to you. There's no wrong answer. I think these are one of the best bang for the buck you could get. I always said this and the E46 M3 is the most smiles per dollar, the best car, especially if you're a beginning enthusiast. Now, I've had 2 E46 M3s and 3 of these S2000s. Honestly, and I'm more of a coupe guy than a convertible. I have the top up now just because of all the noise in here, the wind noise. But when you have the top up, you got a lot more of every other noise. The wind kind of does drown that out, but I don't trust the mic right here. So I'm going to keep the windows up and the top up for this video. So I think those are two best cars, because those are cars you can get for 25, 30,000. Not really a good one, 25 anymore. I paid 25 for this 3 years ago. I think it's 3 years already. I'll have to check. But now I would say the same car is about 30, probably in the height of the pandemic, 2022, when car prices were crazy. It was probably a $35,000 car. Now it's probably like 30. If I were to put it for sale, I would definitely ask for 35 and see what happens. Again, it only has 30, I think I just hit 35,000 miles. Now the E46 M3, first of all, you're not gonna find too many 34,000 mile E46 M3s. Whoops, and if you do, it's gonna cost you a fortune, because they're, yeah, most of them have 100,000 miles, 120,000 miles, 150,000 miles. So if you buy one with low mileage, you're definitely going to pay a premium. It'll definitely cost you a lot more than an S2000. Maybe a 10,000 mile S2000 is a $40,000 or $50,000 car, but a probably 30 or 40,000 mile E46 M3 is probably a $50,000 or $60,000 car. Now, before buying this latest S2000, I always said, make a U-turn here, I always said that the E46 M3 was the best bang for the buck. Just the handling, the looks, the high revving engine. Those cars, just like these cars, are, 20-year-old cars now. Some of them, some are 15, some are 20. Actually, E46 M3, the last year was 2006, so it's 2024 now, so it's even older than that. And don't go in front of me, of course. I noticed with this car than every other car, because maybe people think it's slow, they always cut in front of me. They look right at me and then they go. But anyway, all the E46 M3s, just like these cars, are 15, 20 years old, and they cost a lot to fix now. You're going to have to respace suspension components. Forget about the big three on the E46 M3, and I did videos on that, which you can check out. E46 M3, you're going to dump a lot of cash. I don't care what E46 M3 you buy, 25,000 or 40,000, you're going to sink $5 into it in deferred maintenance immediately. Very rarely have the big three been done, and if the big three already been done, it's going to cost you a lot of more money to buy the car. So it's good getting a car that had all that stuff done. The S2000, I mean, there's problems if you get to higher miles, so I would spend the extra money on a lower mileage one like this. I had two really ultra mileage ones that I mentioned in other videos, so you can check those out. We don't have to spend time here. But you know, you replace the battery. If the top is ripped, I think it's like $3,000 for a brand new installed soft top. It might even be cheaper with some of the aftermarket options, and you can have somebody do that for you. So there's a lot of ways to run this car pretty cheap if you get a good one. So I think the best bang for the buck, honestly, is probably the S2000 over the E46 M3. I love me and E46 M3. I'm a sucker for an old BMW, but between check engine lights and passing inspections, there can be a lot of issues with those cars. So I really think this is the best bang for the buck. Do your own research. I did videos on these cars with the 10 VIN tags. Back then, in the 2000s, if you sold a car in the United States, you either had to have an alarm or a vehicle identification. Got it. A lot of potholes this time of year in the spring, a lot of potholes. Some have been fixed already, some have not. S2000s have your VIN tags, one on each panel, and there's 10 of them. And I did a video on it, one of my highest rated videos. Watch this before you buy an S2000, shows you the location of all of them. So a lot of times bumpers have been replaced. Doesn't necessarily mean the car's been in an accident if it's only got 8 VIN tags or something like that, but it does determine a lot in value. So if you're going to buy a car with 7 or 8 VIN tags, it probably should cost 10 to 20% less than a car with all 10. And when I was searching for this car, I could tell you, this was the first car I found with all 10 VIN tags. Every dealer would swear to me up and down that their car had 10 VIN tags. They checked it themselves. And then I even went to one dealer that I knew pretty well. And when I got there, it only had 8 of them or 7 of them. They're like, oh, well, you know, our wholesale guy buys these. You know, it wasn't the grandma took it to church car that was owned that they told me it was. And then I always do for dealers, and individuals too, I always do a FaceTime call. Hey, I know where the VIN tags are. Let me tell you what doors to open, hood, trunk, and I'll show you where they are and we can see if they are. Just because me personally, I don't mind spending the extra money to get a good one. Could I go through cars pretty quickly? I've had over 100 cars with manual transmissions. And if you buy a clean car, you may spend money to get it, but you get more money when you sell it, and it's much easier to sell it. First thing everybody's gonna ask you is what mileage is on the car. And then the second question they're going to ask you is any accidents. So that makes a big difference when it comes to value of this car. And it doesn't matter, it could still be a good car if you checked it out if there's an accident. I'm not saying that it's not, but make sure you don't pay top dollar for an accident car that now when you go to trade it in, you know the dealer's going to tell you and lowball you on your trade-in if the car's been in an accident. Even if it's been repaired correctly and all that other stuff, they're going to use that as leverage against you, and you're going to wind up giving that car away. So none of my cars have accidents. I always buy clean Carfax, no accident cars. And you will pay a little bit more up front to get them, but I think you get a lot more at the end. And again, it's much easier to sell. If it's a bad market, everybody's going to go for the clean, no accident car. Lower mileage will hold their value more than when the market is really hot and everybody has that fear of missing out. This guy's going to jump the that he's going to go over that speed bump. I had a Jeep once, I went flying over that speed bump. It was a Jeep Wrangler. I didn't realize how much of a speed bump it actually was. So when in like 2022, when people were paying, you know, 100,000 over sticker for cars and 10,000 over sticker for Honda CR-Vs, well, guess what? If that has accident or high mileage now, you're really going to get killed when the market goes back to normal. All right, guys, so that's my video on the Honda S2000. I think it's one of the best cars you should own, and I think you should buy one. Track the values. I think if you could get this car anywhere for around 30 to 35 grand, anything under 35, I think it's well worth it, and you'll enjoy it for years to come. Thanks a lot for watching the video. New video every Monday and shorts during the week, so scroll through, watch out for those YouTube shorts as well. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.